If we were to reduce large samples of populations in developed countries to a hypothetical group of 100 individuals, you'd see the following pattern, give or take. Out of those 100 people, only 20 have a gym membership. I'm going to add an extra 2 people to account for those who train calisthenics outdoors or have a home gym. 78% of this imaginary group gone, too comfortable chilling on the couch watching Netflix or playing video games. Out of those 22 people who engage in some sort of physical activity, only 12 keep at it consistently for over a year. This is almost a 50% loss to the cyclical rhythms of life. Here we have the summer break plus September, because you know it's kind of hard getting back into it crowd. We also have the sprinter who wants to do too much in too short of a time and needs to take a break after only a few months because his mind and body can't handle it. And I would also include the sheep who basically mimics the seasonality of the herd. New Year resolution, I'm going to finally get fit this year. Bah! Summer is coming, so I'll go to the gym in April while I undereat for the next 2 months. Bah! Out of the 12 people left, only 4 train with sufficient intensity and effort, which basically means that when you look around in the gym, 2 out of 3 people are just spending their time there. And please be aware I didn't use the word waste. It's not a complete waste because they are moving their bodies, which is much better than doing nothing at all for sure. Whatever they do could have mental and health benefits. But physique-wise, they're essentially slowing down the rate of physical decay. They are not improving, they're just getting worse much slower. Out of those 4 people who train with sufficient levels of intensity and effort, only 3 will become proficient at the exercises they do. The guy who's out of the picture had good habits, but the wrong mindset. I'm talking about the mindset of progression at all costs, even at the expense of technique at times. Doing the same exercise with less weight is not an option for him. His ego can't take it. This could only go on for so long until he finally pays a visit to Snap City because he has systematically ignored all the signals his body has given him. Perhaps social media skews your perception because it only shows the successful comebacks that we collectively like. But in the vast majority of cases, people never fully recover. The pain, the loss of purpose, and the destruction of a personality that it was based around lifting are holes too deep to crawl out of. In this group, we have the I used to's. These are the guys who got decent results for a short period of time, perhaps a couple of years, but they weren't able to sustain their progress. Now they can only be reminiscent of the glorious days because their physicality back then has absolutely nothing to do with their current appearance. Out of the 3 people left, only one of them regularly invests his time and energy to gain further knowledge on fitness and resistance training as he goes along. Nowadays, there are many ways to become a self-taught, knowledgeable person in whatever topic you're interested in. A bare minimum of 10 to 20,000 hours exposing yourself to legit sources of information will narrow your focus on what really matters with regards to resistance training in general and hypertrophy in particular. This is the point where your programming gets exponentially better now that you understand concepts such as management of fatigue, muscle overlapping, volume per muscle group, minimum effective volume, maximum recoverable volume, rate of perceived exertion, reps in reserve, exercise rotation, total tonnage, muscle anatomy, a basic level of understanding biomechanics, the importance of high threshold motor units, etc., etc. These 2 other guys who don't take the time to learn and implement these concepts are likely to become perma-intermediates. They might be above average in every single metric you look at, but their progress comes to a screeching halt after only a couple of years of training. The tools you need to get into the intermediate level are not the same ones you require to go past it. You have to religiously track your progress. You have to record your sets to analyze your technique. You have to tackle your weak points and work on those consistently even if you don't like them. You have to spend the most part of several years on a caloric surplus to assist your training and your performance. So that means that you have to eat even if you don't feel like eating anymore. You have to say no to many things that sound like a lot of fun and enjoyable things to do at a social level, but you say no anyway. And you have to go through periods of seemingly no visible progress and still show up at the gym. And more importantly, you have to figure out what works best for you in terms of intensity, volume, exercise selection, form, frequency, etc., and ignore everyone else around you telling you differently. The constant rinse and repeat process of completing iterations of the same movements, the same workouts, over and over and over and over again for many years is your best chance to develop the skill of lifting, to improve your intuition, to grow your grit, and to evolve your training over time. Only one out of the initial 100 will make it thus far. The last final blow to the "do you even lift" stigma comes from knowledge and experience on the field. For many people, hard work and genetics could only take them so far, but unless they amass huge amounts of useful information alongside the invaluable feedback that comes from their own training, they won't be able to stand out. Once you upgrade your knowledge, an ever-increasing number of your decisions will be in line with your progress. To improve that extra 1 to 2% across the board in all of the lifting-related domains for many years, that will have a massive accumulative impact on your results. In this favorable environment, you have no option but to succeed if you keep working. Now you know what you're doing and why you are doing it. Now you can be more flexible with your own training because at this point, you are very in tune with yourself and you know how to interpret the signals your body has sent out to you for many years. At this point, this person has ultimately destroyed this so-called "do you even lift" shadow that always looms over beginner lifters during their first years of training. People in the gym know who he is, and folks both expect him and respect him. And depending on genetics, it would usually take 5+ to 10 years of proper, consistent training to look like you lift, to finally have that imposing body that projects strength and muscle wherever you go. Now my question to you is this: you probably still want the results, right? But do you want the process? Are you willing to put in the work regardless of how you feel? Are you willing to roll up your sleeves day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year for over a decade and get it done every single time? The numbers seem to suggest that you won't. The odds are against you. Prove them wrong.